Look at the size of this block. This represents $1.7 trillion. It's a number so large it easily eclipses the entire economic output of many developed nations. And right now, that is the exact size of America's student loan debt. Behind that towering figure are millions of teenagers, 18-year-olds who sit down at a desk, pick up a pen, and take on tens of thousands of dollars in financial liabilities because they are told repeatedly that this is the reliable path to a stable middle-class life. Half a century ago, the math actually worked. Back in the 1970s, you could easily enroll in a public university and cover your entire tuition bill simply by working a minimum wage part-time job over the summer. Since then, the economic reality of higher education has completely detached from the broader economy. A manageable stepping stone evolved into a financial sinkhole. Year after year, incoming freshmen sign those same financial aid papers, expecting a return on their investment, only to graduate into a decades-long struggle to break even. To understand how millions of people ended up trapped in an impossible financial equation, we have to look at how this specific debt was engineered to be completely inescapable. The first part of the trap is the cost of the product itself. Over the last few decades, universities continually expanded their footprints, building massive new facilities and constantly upgrading campus amenities. This chart tracks that financial disconnect over time. The steep line curving rapidly upwards is the cost of tuition, while this mostly flat line below it shows the stagnant median wages of the graduates entering the workforce. That widening gap between what a degree costs and what a job pays represents a zone of mandatory borrowing. Students could no longer earn enough to pay their way, so they had to finance the rest. To bridge that gap, the United States government stepped in, making federally backed student loans widely available to almost any high school graduate who applied. But this created an immediate market distortion. When a teenager shows up to a college admissions office armed with essentially unlimited federal credit, the university has no economic reason to keep their prices low. Institutions steadily increase their rates year after year. And because a college degree became the baseline requirement for most entry-level corporate jobs, young adults had no choice but to absorb those soaring costs just to get their foot in the door. Rather than making higher education broadly accessible, the flood of easy loan money simply drove up the admission price for an entire generation. High prices are only half the equation. The real teeth of the student debt crisis lie in the fine print of the contract itself. If you max out a credit card, or if you start a business that goes under, the legal system provides a safety valve. You can declare bankruptcy, liquidate your assets, and start over. Federal student loans do not have that safety valve. Under current law, it is nearly impossible to discharge student debt in a bankruptcy court. This bar graph illustrates how punishing that rule is. The bottom block is the original amount borrowed. But if a graduate takes a low-paying job or faces unemployment, unpaid interest compounds, stacking another massive block of debt directly on top. Even if they make small monthly payments, that interest keeps multiplying, quickly burying the original loan amount and following the borrower through every subsequent phase of their life. This creates an unforgiving environment. If you don't land a high-paying salary the moment you graduate, you are locked into a compounding financial penalty that you are legally forbidden from escaping. When millions of people carry a burden they cannot legally shed, the economic effects ripple outward, stalling the milestones that typically drive a functioning economy. Young adults burdened with monthly payments equivalent to a mortgage are forced to delay buying actual homes. They put off getting married, and many simply decide they cannot afford to have children. For those completely overwhelmed by the math, the loans go into default. Their credit scores drop, effectively locking them out of housing markets and disqualifying them from necessary auto loans or even certain jobs. What was originally built to be the ultimate societal equalizer, a reliable ladder to the middle class, operates today as a high-risk financial enterprise. That friction has boiled over into massive public outrage, with borrowers organizing to demand systemic relief from a structure they feel was designed to exploit them. The underlying mechanics heavily favor the institutions. The banks and the universities secure their funding up front, leaving an 18-year-old student to absorb all the lifelong risk. The traditional promise of higher education has inverted. Today, for millions of Americans, the pursuit of a better life doesn't start with opportunity. It starts with debt.